Orange Girl here with a layout that I've created for Gearle.com. I'm a guest designer there this week. I'm super excited about it. I'm creating a layout using this picture from a couple of years ago of my daughter watching the fireworks. And I made 3 cut files for this layout. This first one here I'm going to use as a stencil as part of my background. And then this is actually my background paper that I'm going to use and part of my title. And then to finish out the title, which will be tick, 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 boom, I made this cut file with just the word boom. It's going to look something like what you see there. And that's about all I have planned out, except for that I am using Gearle's collection Starshine. So some of my colors and papers and all of that will come from there. So I'm adding some gesso to my background paper here just to give it a little something for the inks to hold on to as I use these mists. I'm using the Citron, I believe is the name of it. It is Heidi Swapp Color Shine. I'm using a packaging technique that many scrapbookers use, and I'm just spritzing a little bit of that color onto the packaging and then adding some water and then just smushing it across the page. That right there is also Heidi Swapp, and it's called Butter. And as I'm doing this, you'll see that I am using a paper towel, and mainly I'm doing that to dry a little bit, but also I'm doing it because I want the background to be subdued. I want it to be kind of the background of my background because I'm going to add that stencil over the top. I'm going to add the stencil using the exact same colors so that they sort of blend in but stand out because it'll be a little more intense. I'm hoping, at least that's the look I'm going for. When I set up this cut file in the software, I set it up to fit exactly where I wanted it to be behind those the photograph and the words. And it worked, which I'm super excited about. It's a little darker than I thought it was going to be. However, as it dries, it lightens a little bit, so I end up liking it a lot. Although I would have been okay with it being that dark too. So now while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and fill up the word boom using some of the great pattern papers from this collection. I know that this is a 4th of July layout, so it should be, red, white, and blue or whatever, but as you can see so far, most of the colors that I've used haven't been that at all. But the Starshine collection does have that navy blue color in it and kind of a pinkish red color too, and so I am using those in addition to that citron that's in there and then the yellow. I'm not going to make you look at me as I go through all of these and fill all of them because I do make some decisions. But once I finish, I use mostly that 6x6 paper pad with a couple, one of those might be from the 12x12 page. So now that that's mostly dry, I did dab it a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and add 3 different pattern papers from the 12x12, same collection, behind the tick, tick, tick. And now I'm ready to really get going on the majority of my layout. I cut off the edges and added it to a 12x12 page because I wanted to add all of those colors in there. So this one fits perfectly. And now I'm just picking out some 6x6 papers that I want to cut, or the 12x12 there that I want to cut to put behind the picture just to create some layers. As I'm figuring that out and figuring out what layers I want, I'm going to keep moving that boom up there so that I can see it and like, ooh, does this match? Does this work for me? Is it too much? Is it not enough? And so that's kind of what I'm working with, and that's the process, my thinking process as I'm going through. I toyed with the idea of putting that frame around it, but then decided that was a little bit too much for me. But I did decide that I wanted to use some of these stickers. So I grabbed the stickers from the Starshine collection, and what I'm doing is I'm cutting them right out of there, and I don't even know if I'm going to use them all, but I'm cutting out the ones where the words work for me and the colors work for me, and I'm cutting them out so that I can move them around, because I move things around a lot as I put them on the page. So I just pulled out the ones, that's not where they're going to be, but I just pulled them out to kind of see these are the ones that I want. As you can see, there's a random acrylic stamp sitting there that just made its way onto my layout. It's because I have like several layouts going at once, but anyway, it goes away. I added some tissue paper. If you watch my videos very much, you'll see that I use tissue paper a lot behind my photo, and the main reason that I do that is it just adds a little bit of dimension Makes it stand out a little bit, gives it a little bit of a border. And so once I was okay with those layers, I went ahead and stapled them all together. It just saves a little bit of adhesive. Now I'm getting out that cut apart page, and I really want to use some of the things on there. And then I remembered that that green is on the top of one of those 6x6 pads, and I just needed a little bit of it. And so I just used that part. And then I'm adding a little bit of washi from my stash. Also kind of that green color. I know I'm going to add some thread. My idea is that I'm going to add some thread behind the picture, behind the word boom, to kind of add to what you see there to make it look a little bit like it's coming out, like a firework might come out. Then I realized I might as well get that boom ready because I'm going to have to use pop dots and all of that. So I get the boom ready to apply, and then I start adding in some of my thread, and a minute here you'll see I decide, oh, I forgot, I really need some blue in there. So I take it all off, and then I do some splatters of navy blue. I think that's Mr. Huey's. Use my paper towel to take some of that off. And then I'm about ready to glue everything down. So I'm going to add some red thread and then some bright yellow thread. And I really like adding thread behind my layers like this, or behind words sometimes, or behind flare buttons and those sorts of things. It's just nice because it adds just this great pop of color wherever you want it to be. So in this case, I'm actually using it more than just a pop of color because I want it to look like it's that firework exploding behind. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to start gluing stuff down, committing to what I've come up with so far at least, and then finishing up with that thread. And then my next step is always, to add those embellishments. And I'm not going to embellish it all that much because, as you can see here with the thread and the painting in the background and the bright colors of pattern paper, I've got a lot going on this page. And so there's very few things that I'm going to add to this. I go back to that cut apart page, and I do end up taking out that little, little tab, and I put my date, the year on there, but I don't end up using anything else because, like I said, it's just a little too much from what I'm going for. So I'm going to stick with some of these stickers and a few items from the chipboard sticker set as well that I'll end up adding to it. I kind of go back and forth using some of these little strips of paper, some little strips of color, and some I end up using and some I don't. I do, though, decide to use one of these paper clips, but I don't want the actual paper clip. I just want the circle. So I cut it off with my scissors and then add it to the layout. I chose the navy star. I wanted to add a little bit more navy. Here I'm adding some of the stars from the chipboard stickers kit. Some of them are round, have kind of a round background on the blue star, and others are just a star that's yellow. I end up adding, the only thing I really add that's not necessarily from the collection, I think, is that little bit of washi and then a few enamel dots, I think, I add to the word boom. And that's about it. So now I'm just kind of messing around with the placement of these words, and I end up changing it like a zillion times. I'm not going to make you watch all of that, but you kind of get the idea of my process there. Right here I'm trying to decide, do I want those strips all together, or do I want them randomly around the page, or what is it that I want? And as I'm going through, I realize I need a little bit more pink because I have some pink, but not enough to make it not stand out. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about as I'm going through all of this. So that's about it. I'm getting really close to the end here, and then you're going to get to see some close-ups of what the layout looks like and the final product, which I'm really super happy with. I really loved working with this collection, and I've made actually several layouts with the collection, and I bought enough paper and products that I probably have a few more layouts that I'll make with this collection. So here come the close-ups. please subscribe if you aren't a subscriber, and hopefully, leave me some feedback or tell me some things that you'd like to see, and I'll try to make that up, um, whip up a video to show you how I do it. Here you go. Thanks a lot. There's the final product. Thanks for stopping by.